Hey, how you doing? It's Dan McDonald, and I'm the Life Regenerator here on YouTube. Thanks for joining me for today's episode of the Life Regenerator Show. I've got a weight gain recipe here for you. The fruits and vegetables, of course, are going to help you to lose weight, the juices, by alkalizing and detoxifying the body. Well, what happens when you actually want to put on some nice, tight, high-quality muscle? You bring in recipes like this with the coconuts and the macadamia nuts, a very, very special nut, especially when it comes to building muscle. Get yourself some raw macadamia nuts, and then you soak them for 4 to 6 hours, okay, so they soften up a bit. I'm gonna bring in some coconuts here, and I'm going to blend these together and make a coconut and macadamia nut yogurt, which I can use then in dressings, or I can put it in smoothies as well, and get the essential fats from the macadamia nuts, which are incredible, really good for your skin, the macadamia nut oil. And also very high in protein, zinc, and phosphorus, which is good for the men and their reproductive systems or reproductive fluids. For example, 8 to 12 hours before you have a date with your wife, you would imbibe in some of the macadamia nut yogurt, and with all that zinc and phosphorus in there, you will have a nice lot of strength and power. Okay, so that's just my politically correct way of saying that macadamia nuts are incredible for reproductive energy in both men and women, for sure. So I'm going to open these coconuts here and make this yogurt, okay? So I'm going to take the Life Biotic from Puridyme, and I'm going to put that in here with the coconut and the macadamia nuts. Now what's going to happen is that probiotic is going to start the process of breaking the fats down into essential fats that are much more easily absorbable. And it's also going to break those proteins down into amino acids, again, making them much more bioavailable. It's a very beautiful process, and the culturization is amazing for really, really, really enhancing the digestion of the proteins and the essential fats, as well as the glucose from the carbohydrates in nuts and seeds. When you culturize the nuts and seeds, you really increase absorbability. In my experience, my personal guess would be at least by twice as much. And you get a lot more energy because of the glucose being easily released, broken down, and then absorbed much more easily, as well as a higher utilization of the proteins and essential fats, which is the key. Now you got to make sure you're doing some resistance training if you're going to build muscle. You can't just eat and sit around and expect to build muscle. You've got to go to the gym, get your carbs from the fruits and the green juices, and then you go to the gym and hit it hard, break the muscle tissues down, and then you rebuild. Now, recipes like this, the coconut and macadamia nut yogurt, is good for the skin, it's good for the hair, it's good for the eyes, and it's good for the nerves, and it's good for the muscles. So it's really good for the body as a concentrated source of nutrition. So I could go into it much, much more, but I'm going to just keep this real simple, give you the recipe, and then when I'm done with this here, I'm going to let it culturize for a little while. And then I'm going to make an amazing dressing, a honey Dijon, which is a DTM original. No one's ever seen it. It's one of those things that comes to me out of the ethers, and I say, wow, because we really need dressings. That's a major request I'm getting from people. They're not going to be able to live off lettuce alone because people just aren't there in general. They're going to need to have these delicious dressings in order to begin the process of eating more leafy greens. But the thing is if you make dressings like this and you take the coconut almond yogurt or the pistachio nut yogurt or the pine nut yogurt, the macadamia nut yogurt, and you blend that into dressings with the various herbs, then you can make these delicious dressings which are actually medicinal and incredibly nutritive. And that's one of the ways that you're going to get all your nutritional requirements met and satiate your appetite so that you can eat more raw vegan food and keep on the muscle, because there's a lot of interest in being vegan recipes, raw vegan, but we've got this thing in society, I need the meat and all that stuff, because the dudes don't want to get small. They don't want to, because when you just eat fruit for like months at a time, you get real thin. Your brain gets clear, but you get real thin, and you have a lot of a certain type of energy, but then you lack other types of energy. So my raw food game and the teachings that I teach is very expansive in the sense that there's detox, there's maintenance, and then there's building. And you want to have the skills in all of those areas. You know, so if you want to learn how to get those skills, you can always go down into the info box down below, click on my link that leads to my website, and get the DVDs, and then you can find out about detoxing, juicing, blending, and the gourmet, as well as these recipes here, so you can expand your repertoire, get the skills that you need, because skills like this in today's modern world, very key. I know that you want to eat food that tastes good, there it is, and you want it to be wholesome and healthy. So you want to invest in your health in this way, like this, with this type of culinary awesomeness, which tastes good and is extremely nourishing. So imagine that. That's the beauty of the recipes that I'm sharing here, one like this, that it's nutritive and delicious. A lot of things are delicious, but you know they ain't good for you, and you kind of feel guilty. That was delicious, but now the fun's over, and it's time to go home and kind of be not feeling too well. Well, imagine if you could actually have deliciousness, and then the party doesn't stop because your body is energized, nourished, and digests easily with being able to break it down with the probiotics. Doesn't that make a lot of sense? So that's why I'm so happy to be able to share this art, this passion that I have for raw foods that are extremely delicious and nourishing. So that's a beautiful coconut right there, nice and thick, that meat. And I've got the Coconut Buddy, and I just wanted to show you how I do this whole process. So I know I'm going to take a little bit more of your time, but I just wanted to, in case there's any newbies here, I'm going to rinse the coconut out so that I can make sure there's no chunks in there. Get those little wood chips out of there. And then I take the Coconut Buddy here and I go around the edge. This meat is beautiful, nice and thick. And then I'm just going to take off and make sure there's no wood chips, okay? So I'm going to just peel all these off of here. Make sure that's all out of there. Go around the edge mostly is where you get your wood chips. And you go along with your fingers until you feel no more of the hard wood chips. And then you throw that there in the blender. Maybe break that a little smaller so it blends real easy here on the camera. And then I'll just throw in the other one too. I'm going to add another coconut here. Maybe I should have peeled one because I do want to respect your time and make sure that you're just getting the recipe here and then moving on. But there's always so much to teach, and I feel that way because, you know, there's not a lot of people doing this in the world, and it's an amazing thing. Like, especially for you bodybuilders who actually, like, if you're a bodybuilder and you want to gain weight, you can eat these foods and get high quality muscle tissue from those amazing fats and the proteins and the carbs, but you don't get the dirtiness with it, like you get the zits on your back, or you get a lot of, your skin doesn't look good because sometimes the processed carbs really accelerate the white blood cell count, and then you look kind of pasty and pale. Well, these raw foods, they don't do that. They build the blood. Raw living foods build the blood, while the cooked food, the cooked grains, generally have a tendency to make you kind of pale and pasty. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm recommending, like, if you want to be the most badass bodybuilder, strength, power, you want clean. This is like, people say clean eating, and I'm like, that's filthy. You know what I'm saying? To them, clean eating in certain circles is like, would be just disgusting. No offense, you know what I mean? But that's just the way I have to say it because it's like dead, all these mixtures, cooked to death. But this is clean eating. Not for me, it's not. This is clean. This is raw. This is living. This is clean eating because everything is raw and everything is alive, and the fats are alive, and the carbohydrates are alive, and the proteins are alive. But when we eat the dead stuff that's been cooked to death, processed, all the life's out of it, it does stimulate you. It will keep weight on your body, but what kind of weight? Do you want high quality, dense, pure, clean, fresh, tight, high quality tissue? I think you do. without all the acne and all the skin problems and the discoloration. You want the living foods which build the blood and enhance the red blood cell count. When the red blood cell count is really high, because your immune system's not going into overload, trying to process so much of the cooked foods that are responded to as a foreign invader. Because the living cells in your body really love the living cells in this coconut meat. But if I were to cook this meat, it would alter these living cells, and those cells would no longer be living. And the body would look at it as like, I'm a living cell organism. I want more living cells to energize me. But if they're not, and you cook this coconut meat and it's dead, then the living cells in your body look at this as a foreign invader. Cooked food is looked at as a foreign invader, and that's why it throws up the mucus to protect itself. Eat the living foods. I mean, I'm just on a mission. It's changed my life so much, I can't even believe it. So I'm here to share the amazing power of these living foods. And these culturized foods are amazing, powerful for vigorous strength and energy, power. I got to add the Life Biotic here. Just a little tiny teaspoon is all that it takes. And then it'll begin the process of breaking everything down. I'll sit it on the counter for 4 hours. It'll culturize, and then I'll make the dressing out of it, and I'll be sending that over to the Insiders Club. So if you want to get the recipe over there, the honey Dijon salad dressing, which will go on top of some romaine and tomatoes and cucumber, then you want to join the Insiders Club and make sure that you check in the next couple of days here. Keep your eyes peeled for amazing dressings, because I'll be sending a lot of, I got already so many videos in the for the YouTube. I got to send something over and say hello to my people on the Insiders Club. So if you're not over there yet, you should probably join up, and then keep your eyes peeled for emails that have interesting subject lines for you. That's why I brought this other coconut out, because I'm going to hit it one more time. There's an air bubble in there. Perfection. Now I've got the most amazing, this is pure power. You could take it just like this and add it to your smoothies as soon as it's culturized. So I'm going to add this here. This is nice and thick, a little too thick. So what I'm going to do is take some coconut water here and get it to a little bit thinner consistency so that I can work with it later. I really want to be able to, let's see, is that, I think it's good. I want to be able to, well, I'm going to check this out, because sometimes coconuts are not good. Yeah, it's good. I just wanted to make sure the top is kind of, you can't tell sometimes, you know. I know it's kind of fuzzy, but it's hard to, yeah, it's just not mature, but this is actually delicious. So just a little bit there to make sure, and I'll show you the consistency in a second. I can't help it, I'm an educator, you know. I know people can edit videos and make them real short and get the recipe, but I think that some of the details are important, because it's taken me years in the kitchen to like master this stuff. So I'm here to like educate you so you're empowered to make great decisions for awesomeness that is food like this, that's going to take you to a whole new level. And when you eat food like this after your workouts, it's over. You're going to feel it. It's going to like swell you up. That's what the macadamia nuts do, is they swell you up. You know what I'm saying? So all you dudes out there that are trying to be like, what's up, baby? You know what I'm saying? Like, boom. Like I said, don't just sit around and eat. You know, go out, ride your bike, lift weights, do some yoga. Okay, that's a little bit more of what I wanted, in the sense of, yeah, a little bit more workable. It was really, really thick before. So there's one batch, and I'll make another. And then I'm going to let you go. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to start the recipe with these jars with some love. That's for sure. This is decent. I'm going to make that oh, you know what I should have done? I should have left, just left the Coke, leave it in there, because I'm just going to go straight from this video to the next video for the Insiders Club, the dressing. So you just leave it in here. I'll just wait a little while and let it culturize. And when it's time to eat, I'll put together this amazing dressing. So thank you for watching this video. I sure do appreciate it. And if you want some more weight gain recipes, I got about 1 million of them. I got this pumpkin seed pistachio nut cheese. Does that sound good or what? Pumpkin, pistachio, and dill cheese that you can spread on your lettuce. Imagine that, the pistachios and the pumpkin seeds together, that's the combo. The macadamia nuts will kind of swell you up, but the pumpkin and the pistachio, you put that together, now that's what I'm talking about when you get that vigorousness when it comes time for date night. So politically correct here, folks, use your imagination, but when you combine the pistachio and the pumpkin, but don't forget to soak them, sprout them and culturize them, and that way it's so much more easily to absorb the nutrition. Epic. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and attention. Let me know what else I can do to help. Peace.